we have arrived at spot number 40, and that spot goes to the founder of the Soviet chess school, ? Mikhail Chigorin. He's born in 1850 in St. Petersburg and dies in 1908 in Lublin. Peter, Chigorin is a well-known name. Where do you rank him?
Well, I think actually we ranked him a bit lower than we expected and maybe also others expected. I mean, his main claim to fame, of course, is that he's actually played 2 World Championship matches. He played against Steinitz both in 1889 and 1892 and lost both matches. The first one with a clear margin, the other one closer, but still ending up losing by 2 points. As we see in the stats, for 17 months, he was the second ranked player in the world with a peak rating of 27.97, which makes him a legitimate contender for the World Championship title. But still, getting two matches with these stats is pretty above average, I would say, in that way. So, I mean, he gets a bit sort of upped in the history by getting to actually challenge Steinitz twice, and I think we thought his tournament's results was a bit underwhelming compared to what we actually expected, right? And that's why, well, he gets still to number 40, but we expected him to be higher, but somehow he's moved a bit down for someone who's been that dominant in the World Championship context.
Yeah, could also be that he's more established because we have this narrative in mind between Steinitz's principles, the king can defend itself and whatnot, and Chigorin being the attacking player who values dynamics higher, which, yeah, at least for me in my chess upbringing, it was very present, but I never really connected it to historical results. So maybe those have to be separated a little. His best tournament results, we said, or we read, was Hastings 1895, but he doesn't actually win, right?
No, that was a bit of a surprise to me that somehow he seemed very strong and such, but well, I think some is referring to that he actually had bad nerves and such, and it looks like a career that of a strong player, but someone who has difficulties actually, managing on a sporting level, and somehow seems to, end up losing the matches, not really winning the tournament. Someone who is great as a chess player, understanding, interesting and such, but doesn't do that well comparatively on the sporting front. And that somehow made us demote him a bit to still a very respectable 40th place.
Yeah, because I think, like, principle-wise, he loses to Steinitz, but the values he had often seemed closer to the truth than Steinitz's. Sometimes it's grabbing a pawn and moving all the pieces back that Steinitz enjoyed to do didn't really strike as modern, while Chigorin going for the initiative, for the attack, often felt better.
Oh, he's a beloved character of many, as you say, and although I see some historians like Hofmeister saying that, okay, to sort of put him as the founder of the Soviet school is a bit too much maybe and such. I mean, you still that, well, there is some modernism we like in it, and as you say, in the debate of values, you tend to think that he's historically right, and his understanding is, well, the game we show obviously explains that and such. But I mean, I agree with you. He just seems to lag a bit on the sporting qualities, and that's we are rating it as a sport hall of fame mainly, right? Yeah.
Yep. Let's have a look at the game when it goes well. Though he has the black pieces against Wilhelm Steinitz that's the second match, Havana 18.
Exactly. This is the rematch, which he ends up losing by 2 points. But that's a much closer match. He seems to have realistic chances of actually grabbing the title, but in the end doesn't seem to be it. And they play something that's even very topical these days to some extent, right?
This is a line I know well. Yeah, this 2 knights, knight g5. While it's trying to grab a pawn at the cost of development. So in a way it stands also for their respective values. It's not surprising that Steinitz would like this for white and Chigorin for black.
Knight h3, a bit later, got sort of also considerably later, but got sort of connected to Fischer, right? But it was very much Steinitz. He got the chance to play it before, obviously, and such, right? But later, I mean, because of Fischer has a famous win, right? Somehow it seemed to be a strong move. But I think the verdict has swung once again. It's very much influenced by the result, right? But
I mean, it's the best move once you get here. Knight a3 is better than knight f3, after which you run into e4. Oh. But current fashion, I think, is more bishop d3. Bishop e2.
Anyway, but I mean, the game just becomes completely crushing, right? And this isn't a world championship match at a crucial moment. So
no, but I also like how he plays bishop c5. Like, I think I've played bishop d6, but I consider bishop c5 to be also respectable. But he doesn't take on h3. He just goes for a quick development and understands he doesn't have to do anything too drastic. Now he brings the knight back. So it shows some very modern understanding in a way.
This is extremely impressive for something played 130 or 40 years ago. I mean, it looks, as you say, just modern.
Now
he does it, but I mean, he's actually managed to provoke some very good circumstances, right?
Queen is far away, white is castled, which often you wait for castling before you take, so the king is here as a target. No, I think he's just playing well. Queen d6, knight d5, yeah. This slow burning attack.
Not that
I like bishop b6, bishop c7. It's good stuff.
No, I like it with the knight on b7 that it will actually, potentially jump to c5 as well. As you say, bishop c7 is eyeing the h2 weakness, which could become fatal and such.
No, in Steinitz, that's also what happens if you're on the forefront of exploring some new principles. If it doesn't go well, it looks really bad. And this game does not look impressive for him. Like, get some pieces out. And if you have to take here, well, you're only a pawn up for all your troubles. It's not enough. But Chigorin, just playing sound aggressive moves. And this is it. King e1, rook g1. So you had to go c4, but after tc.
It's simply hard. I mean, that's also why we chose. It's hard to imagine this is a world championship match. It just looks like a lesson of dynamics to a considerably weaker, inexperienced player, right? Steinitz does actually win the match, but
it's funny with these times, like how hit and miss the games can look as well. No, if we look at the game from, who was it, Wiener we had earlier, that is 50 or 30, 40 years earlier than this. That looks like a very modern game, and this one looks like, what is this guy doing? But of course, if you grab a pawn and take these risks, it can also backfire.
So, yeah.
This is it. King e3, rook e8, bringing in reinforcements, leading to a quick checkmate, for example, takes.
But, I mean, this game is extremely much on brand for Chigorin, right? This is a dynamic, interesting attacking player and such. And, he eventually doesn't manage to bring home the title and such. And that's, as we said, we think that his sporting skills was probably his least good thing. And that obviously is bad for your career in many ways. He also has an opening named after him, but, not as... Sorry?
More than one, I would argue.
More than one, you're right, of course. I mean, I thought mainly on this Chigorin, and that's maybe not the best opening you would like, but it's true. He also has the one in the Spanish, right?
Stuck around. It's not that popular nowadays, but it's certainly a concept.
It was sort of a more respectable opening in that sense and such. So,
like, I'm not the biggest fan in this position, but the concept of playing knight a5 followed by c5 is so key in thousands of Spanish positions, really.
So this is, he's a huge figure and such, and I think, we decided to demote him a bit because of lack of tournament results and things like that, right? And I think it's fair, but people can definitely make a case for that he should be higher, and maybe even not only spots higher, but in the higher layer. That's a debate. But we chose this solution and put him at 40th.
Let us know how you feel about Mr. Chigorin. We will continue with number 39. See you guys then.